pre-eminent, and Durham University over on the far side facing up against Princeton University, U.S.A. And a big story, Princeton returning to the Thames for the first time since 2015 with their open weight squads. We've seen the lightweights from Princeton in recent years, but the open weight squad, this is the first time they've returned, and this is their 2V, their second varsity, their top boat contesting in the ladies. This crew here racing in the Temple Challenge Cup, and you can see here the calibre that this Princeton A crew off the end of the island, half a length in hand already.
Yes, so the Princeton crew were silver medalists at the IRA, the national championships. Their only loss all season was to the Washington 2V. But in the bow seat of this Princeton boat is Nicholas Rath. Actually coached Nick at school. He went to St Joseph's College in Sydney in Australia, so it was great to run into Nick. I haven't seen him since he was at school, and he's in his 4th year at Princeton.
Oh, Sarah, that's great. Great facts. You've got a lot of interest through this commentary session. We'll come on to that in just a few moments' time. But there's a lot of international students that do set their sights on going to the States for college and to row at college. I'm sure that applies just as much in Australia as it does in the UK as well.
Yeah, so in Australia, I believe we have about 160 athletes at college in the US. I know New Zealand has about 80, which when you consider our population is quite a massive number of athletes. And, you know, athletes like Nick, who I just mentioned, but in many of the college boats, there are a lot of internationals. It would actually be interesting to do the figures, and maybe there's someone with some time and interest on their hands who could do the figures on all of the particularly US and even some of the British club crews that have internationals in them. Would be quite some interesting stats.
Yeah, definitely. I must give a shout out to my alma mater who are racing here on the course, Durham University Boat Club. This is their B crew in the Temple. The A crew raced this morning against Oxford Brookes University D, and we'll be progressing on to the next round. But this B crew here are facing one of the hottest favourites in the competition in Princeton A. And Princeton, you know, as I say, they've brought a huge squad here. They've also got a second boat in the competition themselves. Their 3V, their third varsity, is the B crew here in the Temple. And a nice side-by shot there with Durham on the left-hand side of the picture. And in this Durham crew, a number of these athletes actually learned to row at Durham and now racing here at Henley, sometimes for the first time. But coming up against a lot of very experienced athletes in the Princeton crew, coached by Matt Smith, supporting Greg Hughes as head coach at Princeton. And you've talked about their prowess in the sort of Ivy League and also at the IRAs, but they've already managed to kind of sit on this maybe length of clear water they've established now, Sarah. And what is it that Princeton are doing well through the centre parts of this course?
Look, they're an extremely strong crew. We can see that they're really just relaxed into their rhythm now, looking pretty clean, pretty tidy. They've got the rate down, and they're really swinging the boat along together nicely. It looks like Durham is still really racing. They've got their rate up. They're really pressing here. But to me, Princeton are looking pretty relaxed at this stage. And you mentioned Matt Smith. He's a 2004 United States Olympian and now a coach. And of course, the coach of the Durham crew, William Fletcher, an Olympian as well. So great to see some of our Olympic athletes coming through that coaching pathway.
Yeah, and I know that the Durham crew being coached, this B crew actually by Dan Armstrong, supporting Will Fletcher, and I know that, you know, we often get the head coach here on the next, so I must shout to Dan, who's the coach of this DUBC crew. But Princeton, now on your screen you can see the bow 3. This is Nicholas Rath, you mentioned. Trygve Loken, the Norwegian in the 2 seats, who's actually a cross-country skier as well. Great sort of breadth of pedigree in different sports. Andrew Wilkinson in the 3 seat, Lachlan Tovey in the 4 seat, Nicholas McAdam in the 5 seat, Edward Nutt, Kian Aminian and Keelan Good in the coxswain seats, Wes Hirschman in the coxswain seat. So that is your Princeton lineup here.
Well, I'm not sure what being Princeton rowing's best cross-country skier means. Maybe with an Aussie in your boat, it's a pretty low bar being the best cross-country skier at your school. But certainly we know that cross-country skiing is such a great cross-training methodology for rowing, same energy systems, and of course fellow Norwegian Birgit Skarstein, a Paralympic medalist in cross-country skiing as well. So I'm sure it's a popular pastime up in Norway. But
indeed, and with the sort of inclement conditions we've got here on the course, far more used to, it's nearer to snow than we've got sun here at the moment, so maybe used to those conditions as well.
Certainly feels like that in the commentary box, I can tell you. We've got the best seat in the house, but it also is the chilliest, I think. But we can see these boats coming directly towards us as we've got a great shot down the bow there, looking at the back of Nick Rath.
I love the Princeton Tiger canvas that you get. They are the Tigers, Princeton University. You can see the orange and black there adorning that canvas of the boats. And yeah, it just looks so smart, doesn't it, Sarah? I think when a crew comes with their sort of bespoke kit to this event.
And you can see the little computer screens that the Princeton crew have all down the boat, which is really interesting. So that's for biomechanics, so their boat will be rigged up, they'll be able to see their power curves, how much force they're producing, and they'll have a really clear understanding of the power profiles that they're looking to generate while they row.
Indeed, yeah, and it's definitely working that input that they're getting. The cox will be able to see that, the coach will be able to see that once they come off the water to see what worked well for them. But if you're tuning in from New Jersey, good morning to you, 7 o'clock in the morning, just about, and Princeton are through to the next round of the Temple Challenge Cup, and it will be Durham University B that will sadly depart on this occasion.
Everyone squared and fully married.